Welcome to Aussie Lawn Stars. Today I have got Taylah Buchanan. How are you, Taylah?
I'm good, thanks, Gary. How are you?
I'm doing well. Now, this interview may not go as long as some of the interviews. I think the last one I put out was 2.5 hours. But if it goes that long, then that's fine, not a problem. The reason I said it might not go as long is because Taylor's a employee for a guy I just interviewed, Sam Ashby.
Mhm.
And this interview is basically a bit of a preview to look at what Taylor's about to do. So you've already created a business name, right? But you're resigning from working for Sam?
Yes, yeah. I've got my name up and everything, just waiting for the next step of moving up and starting my own business up in the Inverell area.
Nice. So you've been on the Central Coast,
Mhm.
not far from where I work, and we've caught up face to face a couple of times, which is great. So you're moving at the moment, like literally in the throes of packing up everything's boxes around you and whatever else, and moving up to Inverell in that area somewhere. Um, that's quite regional compared to the Central Coast. I would say Central Coast is an extension of Sydney these days.
Yeah, it is. It's going to be a big change from a city-like area to a rural area in the middle of the country. But I
Yeah.
grew up in the country, so I think I'll do all right.
Yeah, so it's not that you're unfamiliar with being in the country, but it is a different place to be running a business. So
Yeah.
let's have a bit of a look back over your history, and we'll try not to throw Sam under the bus, but if we do, he can come and find me. So you've worked for Sam for a while. How many years have you been there?
4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you did an apprenticeship while you've been with Sam?
Yes, I did my Parks and Gardens Cert 3 and
Yeah.
finished that up. And I think after that, I did a year extra with him. So then after that,
Yeah,
I
okay.
was moving up and doing my own thing.
Fair enough. So you got sick of working for Sam? No. I'm sure he's a great boss, but what's it like coming into the industry as an employee compared to what a lot of people do, just coming into the industry to be their own boss?
I think it has a lot of benefits rather than just starting out and kind of winging it. Like I learned
Yeah,
a lot because I did a just some laboring with Sam before I started my apprenticeship,
yeah,
and I learnt so much from him.
yep,
Then when I started my apprenticeship, I already had a whole heap of knowledge before I even started, and afterwards it was. I think it makes it easier for now going into starting my own business.
Now, Sam is also qualified, so you're learning from somebody who has a trade behind them
Yeah,
as opposed to somebody who's just a business owner, not dissing
definitely.
anyone, but yeah. That means you've learnt a lot of the knowledge from Sam as well as from doing the apprenticeship program.
Yeah, because he did the same course as me, but it was a few years before.
Yeah,
But the amount of knowledge that he has is amazing, and then he also got a lot of knowledge from being in the industry as well, which he
of
passed on to
course.
me.
Yeah. And he came in from working for another business himself, so did
Yeah,
a similar thing.
yeah,
Um, so the types of jobs that you do with Sam, and hopefully we're not breaking any confidentiality, Sam. Sorry if we do, but too bad. Suck it up. So the types of jobs you've done with Sam, they've been predominantly focused on gardens, although you do some lawn mowing as well.
it was mostly gardening, but there were either like small lawns or much bigger lawns where we had the ride on and everything.
Yeah.
So I've done many different things with Sam.
Yeah. Okay. So with the gardening, like most people who come in and just go, I'm starting a lawn mowing business, throw my three tools in, and off I go. Like I've got a business for $500, a couple of grand, or whatever. They learn a little bit about gardening. Like they can pick up a hedge trimmer and cut some hairy bits off, right? And then it might look like a pillow instead of a formal hedge. I was teaching my employee that the other day. I was like, all right, we don't want it to look like a pillow. But they learn things as they go from experience, but they don't have that trade background.
Yeah,
So I guess by example, you've come into it with Sam's trade and then getting your own trade training. The type of gardening that you're doing, would you say that it's massively different to somebody who's just having a go? And what does that look like?
I feel like it is like to some people it might not seem like a huge difference, but I feel like it is a big difference because when it comes to a client asking you to hedge this or cut this back or something, you can come in with the knowledge of knowing, well, if I did that at this certain time of year, it will actually kill the plant or damage it, it'll make it sick. So I feel like coming in with all the knowledge that I have and the knowledge that my boss Sam gave me, instead of just coming into a garden, chopping everything, I have knowledge of knowing this actually works best for the plant, not like, and knowing where to cut things and everything like that.
Yeah, and you know, my perspective is that I've come in without that trade background, right? So when we're comparing things, I can speak from that side much more than I can speak from your side of things. So there's a lot of things you learn, like pruning plants at certain times of year, but it's very generalized. So I couldn't tell you that a particular type of plant in our area is best to plant or prune or manage based on it being that type of plant necessarily, or even like I might know some trade names or a few casual names of plants and things like that, but I can't say I've learnt all of the botanical names really well. And I think that then also you get into some debate when you're talking people with trades as to some of them have taken that on really well and some of them are a little bit more carefree when it comes to knowing their plant names.
Yeah, that's the one thing I learned when I first started in the in TAFE. I was learning all these plant names, saying all the common names to my boss Sam, and then he'd be like, "Don't use that word. Use the botanical." And I was like, "Oh, okay, makes sense."
Yeah. And of course it does. Like, it's valuable for you to be able to show that knowledge to your customers as well. But going back to the other side of that is also knowing what that plant benefits from, the aspect that plant benefits from in terms of the amount of sunlight it gets in the day, whether it's sitting on the north of a house or on the south or the west can make a big difference to how it performs and whether it thrives or dies.
Yeah, that's definitely a big aspect to when it comes to gardening, because a lot of people seem to just put a plant in a spot and then wonder why it dies. And then I guess I can come in and say, well, this is the reason why.
If you're out there tackling strata sites, commercial grounds, retirement villages, or those tough summer acres, you know a full commercial mower makes all the difference. That's why more commercial contractors are switching to Right Standers, the original stand-on mower, available in Australia through Cox dealers nationwide. Built tough for our conditions, the legendary AeroCore deck delivers a flawless, even cut every time. Quick manoeuvrability in tight spots, compact design for easier trailer loading, Kawasaki or Briggs engines, hydro gear drives, and a serious commercial durability. Stand instead of sit for less fatigue, better visibility, quicker jobs, and more profit in the bank. From the Standard B for great value to the X or ZK for next level performance, everyone is raving about the upgrade. Head to rightmowers.australia.com.au or your local dealer today. Be sure to mention Aussie Lawn Stars. Right Mowers get the job done faster, cleaner and easier. Your back and your business will thank you.
You're armed with a lot more knowledge. I can find those things out by Googling.
A lot of people can now.
But yeah, and I've actually just done a garden install myself where I've installed Snow Maiden and Saltbush, excuse the common names. I could get you the right names, but that'll do. But yeah, I did a fair bit of research. I made sure I got some good quality composted soil mix, sand and compost, really high compost mix in there because I wanted to make sure there's plenty of nutrients in that soil that the plants were being planted in. And I got a auger, so I've dug holes where the plants are going in there. The holes have got a lot of room for the roots to expand. Planted them out, and within a week we had 40-degree day, and a couple of those salt bushes are looking rather dead.
Yeah.
So they'll be getting pulled out tomorrow, and I had half a dozen spares there, so there's a couple more to put in there, which I knew I'd keep those spares for that reason.
That's also an issue with planting in Australia during summertime.
Yeah. So in this situation, there's a couple of things I discovered which I couldn't have known beforehand. I know this area had a beautiful garden in it, so I expected soil quality would be reasonable, but I also figured I was going to allow for where the area where the roots are going, that I was going to make sure I was putting really good quality soil in. Now, Ego make a nice auger that I was like, a battery powered auger sounds perfect for me. I bought this auger specifically because I was doing this plant out. Did about 30 holes, no problem at all, and then I hit rock and concrete rubble in the area where there'd already been a garden.
Yeah.
I physically hit a wall. You know, if you're exercising regularly, if you push yourself to limits, you hit a wall, and that's exactly what it felt like.
Yeah. If you started there first, it probably would have been easier.
If I'd known,
Yeah.
it was intense, right? And there was a number of holes I had to dig in this area where it was concrete and rock rubble. But the second thing that I learnt here, in spite of going to the trouble of making sure the plants have good soil in the immediate area where the roots are growing, is that then we watered the plants in. And what I allowed for was about 2 to 3 minutes of watering per plant. And what I found out afterwards is that this area is really good at retaining the water like a dam.
Oh, yeah.
So I'd watered them in on the Thursday and the Friday, and then I come back on the Monday and went to put a little bit of water on it, and it just all ran straight off the top. And I'm like, hang on a minute. I just put my foot near one of the plants, and it was squelchy. This is the fun of learning things the hard way. And, of course, I had enough knowledge to think about what I'm dealing with, but I had still got surprised.
I feel like even if you have the knowledge, sometimes you hit the same walls as well of just watering something and going, oh, I've given it too much and the soil's going to hold it, and you just can't do anything about it really until you fix it.
Yeah, for sure. And I've deliberately picked plants that I thought would be really hardy and able to deal with fairly harsh conditions, because not planning on irrigating a whole lot once they're established. And they need to be able to deal with a lot of direct sunlight.
Yeah.
This is Australia after all.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, these are the sorts of things where you could say I'm playing a guessing game. Obviously, I've done some research and I've got 15 years of experience behind me. I'm not completely guessing. But then for you or Sam to come into a similar situation, you've got that backing of having done 3-year trade. Yep. And that makes a wealth of difference for the type of customers that look for you and the type of customers that will accept a quote that you give. And I guess more marginally, it makes a difference in what that looks like from day to day, the type of customers that you're looking after, but also and I'm going to say very carefully, the price range of the customers as well.
Definitely.
And I say that because sometimes the better customers don't actually want to pay a higher price. They can be pretty tight with their funds.
Yeah. But it's also, even though I have all the knowledge and everything, where I'm moving to, the whole environment is completely different to how it is here on the Central Coast.
Yes.
So the amount of study that I'm doing and have to then do up when I move, it's a lot, because it's pretty much learning a whole new environment compared to what I learned down here on the coast, which is what Sam told me when I was working because he knew I was leaving. He was like, just so you know, this plant grows well here, but when you move up over there, it might not grow at all. Like, it just depends on the type of environment.
So when I bought the plants for this garden that I've just planted out, the guy at the local nursery, I'm pretty sure it's a nursery you guys use too, because I think I mentioned to Ben and he said, yeah, I think I know Sam.
Probably.
He comes from Canberra, but he's working in the nursery on the Central Coast. So his plant knowledge is predominantly around Canberra and what works well there. And so I kept asking him, like, okay, what I'm buying here, we don't want it to work in Canberra. We want it to work Central Coast climate. Now, I've often said, talking to people about this on the podcast, that Australia seems to be very similar right the way across in terms of climate. However, you do get cold climate versus warm climate areas. And I think the difference between Canberra and the Central Coast is that the Canberra is a little bit more inland and a lot colder through winter, probably a little bit harsher in summer too. And I would think Inveril's probably going to be more like Canberra than here, except probably hotter in summer. What about the cold? Because I know up that way, are you up in the tablelands, sort of up in the higher country?
I'm up in the more of the inland. I'm a few hours from Armidale. I think 1 or 2 hours from Armidale.
See, Armidale gets snow.
Well, the last winter had snow in the area that I will be moving to. So
Yeah.
that's the one thing that I also have to take into account. Say if I'm putting plants in a client's garden, is going, well, when winter hits, if there is a chance of snow, is this plant going to survive or die?
Yeah. So you're going to get harsh environment in every aspect. And I guess that makes a big difference if you are talking about whether you're irrigating, but it also makes a massive difference when it comes to the aspect. So if you're in town, things are probably relatively flat compared to if you're out on the farms where there could be a lot of hills. I'm just thinking about that area. There probably is going to be quite a few hills. So if they've got a east-facing hill or a north-facing hill or a west-facing hill, that will make so much difference to the amount of sunlight that you get and the heat of the sunlight. So east-facing, you're going to get a more moderate sunlight in the morning. You're sheltered from the afternoon heat, whereas the north and the west-facing aspects are going to get absolutely hammered out there. And then wintertime, I'm guessing, and you know better than I do when it comes to this stuff, but I'm guessing wintertime, if you get the southerly aspect, it's going to be the coldest place to be in Inverurie.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty much a learning point for me when I move up there, because obviously this will be my first summer up there, and then when winter comes, it'll be my first winter. So it's learning the different temperaments of where everything affects each aspect of the areas that I'm working in to know.
Yeah. So I guess my speculations don't mean a whole lot. They're interesting, but the knowledge you're armed with, the trade background that you've got, puts you in a good place to be able to work through those issues, get familiar with the local environment, and be able to give customers great advice there. I guess from a business front, though, you haven't run your own business prior to this, or you might have done a couple of small jobs on the side.
I did a few small jobs in the local area of Carry-On when I was during my apprenticeship, just to get some extra money on the side. And I pretty much, after doing all of them, was like, oh, this actually could actually eventuate to something. So I think it helped out with starting my own business and going into that way.
Yeah, for sure. And I think Sam would be a great boss in terms of helping you transition from being an employee to learning a few things about running your own business and getting set up for when you move.
Definitely. During the entire time that I worked with him, he filled me, because I think he ended up knowing that I was going to leave.
Yeah.
But he filled me in with all the behind the scenes of business and everything, so that when I do eventually leave and open up my own business, and he takes me into all the hard truths of having your own business. That's his main thing. He's like, there's no sugarcoating anything, which I loved, because I was like, I need to hear all the hard truths. I need to know all the stuff that I am in for before I start it, which is probably the best thing, rather than going into it going, oh, this is going to be great, I'm going to do all this and that. I just go, okay, so there's these things that I'm going to have to do, all these stepping stones, and he made that to me, so it was great.
I've got a quick shout out to our sponsor, Sortscape, at sortscape.com/lawnstars. Job management built specifically for lawn mowing and garden maintenance. If you're still running your business off a paper diary or a basic calendar, Sortscape gives you the stuff they can't: drag and drop scheduling, route optimization, automatic customer text and email reminders, plus job timers, so you can track time on site and cut the after hours paperwork. Visit sortscape.com/lawnstars. It also keeps your crew organised with customer history, notes and photos right in the app, so you're not relying on memory or pretty sure we did that last time. Visit sortscape.com/lawnstars.
And that was my first interaction with you, was actually Sam approaching me and saying, hey, Taylor's planning on starting her own business. Sit down with her for a bit and have a chat about some advice and help her work out what she needs to know. And it's a very helpful boss that's looking out for you and helping you to get established like that.
Yeah, he's done amazing in terms of giving me knowledge as well as knowledge for the business side and everything, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, but you're moving to Inverell. You've really got to start as if you have nothing, because you've got to establish relationships with people in the area, businesses in the area, work out whether you want to chase a lot of residential work, see if you can find commercial work with some of the businesses. And I'm sure there's plenty of businesses there that need commercial assistance with gardening, lawn mowing, and all the things that you can offer them. But yeah, that you're starting completely from scratch. So zero customers, and that brings with it the dilemma of going, do I undersell myself, try and get busy with things that are not paying well just so that I'm busy and then get my pricing right once I'm busy? Or do I try and make sure I'm coming in with the knowledge I've got, asking what it's worth, so that I'm building a business that is the right way the first time? And that's a challenge.
Yeah, that was my biggest worry for when I first started, because I was like, oh, I'll just knock on people's doors, I'll go mow a lawn for $50 just to get my name out there and everything. But I've actually currently walked into 2 real estate agents that are down there and handed over my business card and just spoken to them. And then I've done letter box drops just to get my name out there. Got a couple calls.
Yep, nice.
Yeah.
So you're already getting some feedback and getting some interest. That's great. Now, somebody else I was listening to, the podcast episode that's just come out today, Paul McCasker, he talks about marketing, and he does business coaching, but he talked about marketing on the podcast as something that is building demand for your services rather than just advertising. So it is about putting out the idea there that people need your services. They need you as the right person to do that work in that industry in your area. And so that mentality, that mindset, is something that will actually help to attract people to you in a way that is positive. And I think that's the biggest challenge for somebody starting out, whether they have no industry knowledge or whether they come in like at your level, is, okay, I want customers. How low am I willing to go? And part of that is having good marketing. So we can see, if people are watching this on YouTube, we can see you've got a uniform. Yeah. You've got your logo already, and you've got that sorted out. It looks professional. You've got the backing of the trade behind you, and I guess the next step from that is the vehicle having sign writing on it, or the trailer, or whatever your setup looks like, so that people see that. And then that matches up with the letterbox drops that you do, the knock on the real estate doors. All those things are building an image of Taylah as a professional in the industry and commanding and demanding respect, and setting that expectation that you're going to deliver quality, and also that comes at a price. Yeah,
that's the main thing pretty much for the area as well. I've got the signage, the magnets for the side of my car, and I'm getting some signs made up for the trailer, because I'm just starting out with my ute and a trailer, and starting from there. And then eventually, when I when the business is up and running, I'll eventually get a truck like Sam has.
Yeah, for sure.
Do it that way.
Yeah. I guess the worst thing, and, you know, brace yourself for the worst thing because you've got to accept these things, right? The best bit's coming. But the worst bit is when you have 0 customers and you're relying on marketing, the inquiry rate is about 0.5%. So you put out 100 flyers, you get half of one inquiry.
Yeah.
And the expectation from these inquiries, if they don't perceive that they're dealing with a professional with high quality work, they will be driving you to your lowest bottom dollar.
Yeah.
And so if you've got 0 customers and you're getting half of an inquiry from 100 flyers or door knocks or whatever it might look like, initially the ratio of good quality work to low quality work is going to be pretty disappointing. And it may not be that way. Obviously, we're working on statistics rather than first-hand experience when we say this. But it's likely, and the statistics say that the ratio of good quality work to low quality work is disappointing. But once you've got between 20 and 50 customers, then you start going, okay, I'm not taking on the customers that are below the standard or the mark that I've already established in the business, and I'm only taking on ones that meet that standard or higher. And because you've got the experience with Sam, that helps you to even make sure that whilst initially you might take on some customers that are a lower standard than what you've got with Sam, you're pretty quickly going to head that direction.
Yeah, definitely. I think working with Sam and seeing over the 4 years how, like, the amount of customers we've gained and the amount of customers we've lost and the quality of work for each one, it really helps with my then future business and going into seeing, like, even if I just start out with customers that are the lower paying, the lower quality, then knowing that in the future, then I can go, oh, well, swap them out if I have to, as bad as that sounds.
Well, yeah, it does, but it doesn't. I think it's just part of doing business, right?
Yeah.
And I've known a few narcissists, so I say this with good intentions. A business operation is different to you as a person. Your personhood is altruistic, right? You have lofty goals, you treat people well, you have a lot of respect for people, and people need to earn respect. But as a person, you generally give a level of respect and only take it away when people show that they are not worthy of it. With a business, they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
And the business should be narcissistic in the sense that if the business fails, then it doesn't serve you or any employees at all. So it needs to be really harsh and narcissistic in that point of view, in the sense that the expectation needs to meet that bar, and if it doesn't meet that bar, they're not the right fit. Yeah.
I think that's something that I have to learn very much, to separate myself from the actual business in terms of that.
Yeah. And part of it is a combination of the two, right? Because when you have a quote, the person is assuming that you are the business, and that means it gets really tangled in terms of that. Is it Taylah or is it the business that's delivering this, or the personality, or just a financial decision? And you can help clarify that with people, but initially that's quite murky to make sure that people understand the difference, and some of them won't. You're obviously going to get manipulative people who will try and pretend they don't understand that, even though they do understand it.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure you've seen that with Sam's customers from time to time, in terms of people that make excuses for their own bad behaviour.
Oh, 100%, yes, definitely.
But you'll get the worst of the worst when you're starting out, because they tend to be unhappy with the existing gardeners and lawn care providers in the area, and so you'll get them.
Yeah.
But, I guess that's an interesting thing. And one of the reasons why I thought I'd do this interview with you now is because we get a bit of insight into your background. We get to see who you are and what your goals are with your business. And then we'll see how that looks. So come back and chat to you in 6 months' time and see if the first 6 months has proven great growth in your business, whether you're getting bogged down with all of those customers that nobody else wanted in the area, whether you found some really good leads.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes and then share it with everyone. Because I feel like for the next person who wants to open up their business, this is a good way to show them how it can happen. And then I might come back in 6 months and be like, this happened bad, this happened good, and just see how it goes.
Yeah. And look, if we compare several possible entries into our industry, there's the cheapest possible option. So I'm broke, I'm on the dole, I've got $500 that my parents gave me to go and buy 3 gardening tools from Bunnings. It's going to be a fairly rocky startup, but you might still win a lot of things and it goes your way and you get to the point where you're like I am, where you're doing pretty well, right? That's one option. Another option is like you come in with a trade experience from working for somebody else and then you transition to working for yourself, which gives you a lot of leverage. Another option that I've seen, and in the rural areas, this seems to work really well, is people who are kitted up with $30,000 to $50,000. They buy a gyms franchise, and in the regional areas, they're doing exceptionally well. So what I'm getting at there is that they have several things which you can replicate yourself. Plus, you've got a trade that a lot of the gyms franchises don't have. So one of the things that the gyms franchise network has really good is that when somebody calls 13 whatever it is, I don't have the gyms number on the tip of my tongue, they expect that it's going to be unanimously a gyms quality and gyms guarantee with the work. And so people even in rural areas will do that for that reason. They can pile the leads on really quick, which is something you can do. But then they also have a bunch of systems in place that help people starting out to go, okay, let's filter some of those leads, make sure that we're taking the good quality work. They encourage people to price high and to not underquote, which is something which is really challenging on your own to have the confidence to do. And I've talked to you a couple of times about having confidence in yourself because you have every reason to.
Yeah.
Look in the mirror and say, I'm good at what I do.
Yeah. That's the one thing Sam always told me. He was like, you seem like you, if he walks up to me and I'm doing something, he's always like, I'm not watching you. You know what you're doing. Believe that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I know what I'm doing, but still.
Catch Pro has been a supporter of Aussie Lawn Stars since its very first episode. Since we've formed a partnership with Catch Pro, a lot of Aussie Lawn Stars have made orders using the code LawnStars10 in all caps. And the lucky Ray from Sydney won the Equipment Defender racks right before Christmas. I'm letting you know that all the support for the month of February will be going towards BJ's choice of charity, Queensland Children's Hospital.
Well, confidence comes with experience. You've got, 4 years of experience now?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's not just average experience. It's under a high-quality company and it's trained and gives you the ability to put that confidence in place, even if it's challenging still. You've got good reason to have confidence.
Yes, definitely.
But I guess comparing the 3 situations there, so if you look at marketing is about, like Paul McCasker was hinting at, that it's about touch points that help the lead to see you in a positive light or to have confidence in you. So if they see your flyer and it's scribbled on paper and it's messy writing or whatever, they'll go, oh yeah, this person's a kid leaving school trying to get $20 jobs, $15 jobs, $10 jobs. If they see your flyer and it's got your business name, it's got your qualification in there, it looks really professional, not cluttered with a whole heap of jobs that you're willing to do, people will treat you like a turd. If they think they can just ask you to do anything, they will literally ask you to do anything. But if it looks professional and it's not listing all these different stupid things that people can do or ask you to do, it makes a lot of difference. So you get your touch points out there with your vehicle, your trailer, your uniform, your flyers, by the time people actually talk to you, their expectations are already high. So you've got good reason to have confidence.
Yeah.
And that's something that gyms helps people do off the bat. That's something that you can implement yourself fairly easily.
Yeah, I think over the next few months, I think the main thing will be my first point of doing the first initial viewings of the properties and everything, because that's the one thing that I think I struggled with when I was with Sam, because I'd always be with him when he did it, but I think that will help with my confidence building, and
for sure
I'll be able to do it like that, and it'll be very simple.
Look, after you've done half a dozen, you will get burnt a couple of times, but you'll start to get harder as you get burnt. Once somebody refuses to pay you, or they offer you $20 when you said it's worth $1,000, you'll start to get a little bit harder and start to become a bit cynical of the people who are trying to take you for a ride.
Yeah, definitely.
But that's one of the things that Jim's Mowing does really well. So if you go in to do a quote, try and ascertain whether they're being realistic or whether they're being unreasonable. And the unreasonable person will tell you up front that it's not a one-off job, it's a regular job. You get there and the grass is overgrown, the gardens are full of weeds, whatever it is. And you're like, well, it hasn't been looked after regularly. So how do I know this is going to be routine, fortnightly or monthly work? Because I'd imagine most of your work, if it's gardening, would be monthly. If it's mowing, it's going to be fortnightly or weekly, depending on whether people irrigate their lawns and gardens. So trying to weed out the lies and the twist the truth quotes and, offer them a realistic thing. One of the things I've found works really well there is initial inspection. Refuse to accept a over the phone quote or acceptance of quote type setup. I have to see this in person. And you might find you end up doing some over the phone. Everyone does, but you do get burnt when you do it.
Yeah, definitely.
So send me pictures. No, I don't trust those pictures were taken today. So you can see what I'm saying. You become very cynical very quickly.
Yeah, definitely.
But you might have to get burnt to become that cynical.
Yeah, it'll come over time, but I'll get there.
Yeah. So I guess that's one of those things that if you look out for those customers and always offer a first cut price.
Yeah.
Whether it's a garden or a lawn, this is going to cost you 2 times as much or 3 times as much or 5 times as much. Or if it's an overgrown once-off job and they admit it, it's not a $250 visit. It's a $3,000 visit. And seriously, I've had jobs which are $5,000 visits like that, where it's a residential property. There's no denying it. Like, it's a deceased estate and the real estate and the lawyer are fighting over who's going to pay you.
Yeah.
So you'll get stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Ultimately, you want the jobs where they're like, I want you to turn up every fortnight and just make sure it's looking tip-top.
Mm-hmm. That's the main goal, just getting repeat customers. But I also, I kind of have this like gratification from doing the overgrowing, the everything.
Yeah. It is satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
So I guess, and one of the things that Jim's Mowing does, sorry if I sound like I'm trying to sell you on Jim's Mowing, I'm not. One of the things they do is when people are starting a franchise, they encourage them to get out there and do some jobs, even if they're not making money from it. And you can do the same thing. What I've suggested is be very clear with somebody who you're going to do that for, that you either tell them what it's worth or make it very clear, this is a one-off job I'm doing for free just because I want to get my name out there. So that there's complete transparency. This is worth a lot. You might choose to do some free jobs or do some jobs that are underpriced even. And I've done that with people. And, as a Christian, I've really pushed this point of being charitable. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Christian or not, I still think that's good value.
Yeah.
But if you are charitable towards people, don't encourage them to think that your business is a charity. So I'm being charitable towards you. you can pay me whatever you can afford. This is what I've actually said to a customer. But you need to know that it's worth $80 every time I turn up. And, that same job now, I would be telling them it's $150 to turn up.
Mm.
That one I'm thinking of in particular. So that way, if they go and tell their friends, oh, Gary's really good, we recommend him and he's really cheap. No, he's not.
Yeah, I think I'll probably end up doing a lot of either discounted jobs or free hedging or free mowing or whatever there is, just to get my name out there, even if it's word of mouth to their friends or something, but ensuring that they know that I don't work for free. It's just I'm doing it to get out there. And
yeah, and I think you should be careful about who you do that for as to whether it's worthwhile or not. I've had people who have manipulated the situation or tried to. And they're like, oh, I've got lots of contacts. I'm going to recommend you if you can do me a really good price. Red flag.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously, like I said, I'm charitable, so I'm not saying that about everybody, but you've got to look out for those red flags and make sure that we nip them in the bud really quickly.
Yeah, always got to watch out for red flags.
Yeah, definitely. So, Taylah, I think we've given people some fairly good insights into what's going on for you, the background you've got, the plans you've got at the moment.
Yep.
I'm going to be curious to see what this looks like in a few months once you are making some progress.
Mm-hmm.
Talk more about what equipment you've chosen to go with. Have you done much purchasing equipment yet to set up?
I've just got my right now. I've just got my combi Makita 80-volt set. So it's just a whip snipper, hedger, pole chainsaw.
Yep, Makita makes some really good gear there.
Yeah, they do. And I'm just going to use that for now. And then eventually I will go Sam's way and go with the Husqvarna.
Yeah, okay. I mean, they make good tools. I've got a lot of Husqvarna tools myself.
Yeah, I pretty much started using them, and I've tried heaps of other stuff, but I think I just favour the Husqvarna.
Yeah, and I'm going to bounce back the other direction. I'm actually going to move away from Husqvarna shortly, I think, myself. Having said that, there's a good reason to look at Husqvarna, particularly when it comes to a couple of their tools that are significantly better ergonomics or weight for continuous operation. So they make a battery-powered whippersnipper. There's a couple of models there that are really good that are hands down like a kilo lighter than any of the competition and still a commercial quality tool.
Yeah, no, they're great. The weight difference compared to other things, like even just the battery size, I think I just prefer over a lot of other companies' batteries. But
now, I lent Sam a few Ego tools a few weeks ago. Did you get the chance to play with them?
Yeah, I did. I did end up using them. They were good, but I just can't go past Husqvarna.
Well, those three tools that I lent him was the STX 4500 whip snipper, then the dedicated blade edger, and the pole hedge trimmer. So they're all commercial quality tools. But by comparison to Husqvarna, they're a little bit heavier.
Yeah.
I think the ergonomics of the Husqvarna are a little bit nicer. And with the whippersnipper, it's got a really slow head speed on it. So I found the Husqvarna feels more like a two-stroke in terms of the head speed, throttle control, that sort of thing.
I also did notice that with the pole hedger, the hinge part and the blades, it heats up very fast.
Oh yeah, yes,
yeah.
I've actually gone back to Ego and talked to them about that. It gets really hot, and I'm like, it
because
shouldn't get that hot.
With the Husqvarna, when you're changing the tilt on the pole hedger, you go up and you grab up below it. But with the Ego, you have the little bit on the end of the blade to change it. I kept going up to grab it and grabbing the hot part of the...
And like, ouch, that's hot. Yeah, like hot to touch.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think other than that, I think it's quite nice to use. But yeah, it's certainly noticed that.
They're very good for what they are. Like, I think I've just used Husqvarna enough to... you also get comfortable with what you use. That's what I've noticed.
Definitely. Yeah.
When I use my Makita stuff, I'm like, oh, it's very different to the Husqvarna, but it's still good.
Yeah. So I've got the Makita 18-volt hedge trimmer.
Mhm.
So it takes one 18-volt battery, and it's very light to operate. It's got the 4,000 SPM head speed.
Yeah.
So it's great for trimming your buxus and those things where you're just tipping the leaf on your hedge trimming. I wouldn't recommend it for anything where you're doing a hedge reduction or you're cutting into the woody stuff at all. So your other hedges that tend to be a bit woody, I'm thinking like photinias, that sort of thing, I probably would steer away from that and go for something a little bit stronger than the Makita. And it's strong, but the 18-volt one, it's really light, really nice to use, and I'm absolutely loving it. But yeah, I think if you look at the Husqvarna dedicated hedge trimmer that's similar, and it's not much heavier than the Makita.
Yeah.
Overall, they're probably two of the lighter options in the battery tools when it comes to those short poles, not the extendable poles.
Yeah, I think the weight of them is, you can't go past them. They're pretty light compared to everything else, which is good.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, okay. Well, that gives us a bit of insight, and I think, like I said, we'll come back and talk to you in 6 months or so and see how your setup looks, see how you're progressing with customers.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to see myself how it ends up turning out.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there'll be a fairly interesting, diverse range of commercial options up there as well, in terms of whether it's local shops or industries, factories or farms or whatever. Then I'm sure there'll be quite a number of outlets there that you can chase for work that is not just the residential work.
Yeah, I think I'll definitely look into that once I've gotten a few jobs under my belt, just in the area, getting my name out, and then going on to all that extra stuff, which I think will be great.
Yeah. Well, Taylah, thanks for joining me. Appreciate your time.
That's all right. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Aussie Lawn Stars. Please remember to rate and review the show on the Apple Podcasts app or the player you use. Exciting new shows are released every Monday. Make sure you follow or subscribe to hear the next episode.